Hello and welcome to the first module in the first course in this series. This is the short course on risk-based decision making. My name is Kara Morgan. I work in the Center for Foodborne Illness Research and Prevention at The Ohio State University. And before we start into the specific modules, I wanted to give you a sense for why we're putting these courses together. So we have a project called TARTAR. That's the acronym for the project, the short name. The long name is the Assessment and Management of Risk from Non-Typhimurial Salmonella, Diarrheogenic Escherichia coli, and Campylobacter in raw beef and dairy in Ethiopia. And this project was funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and it is, as I'll talk about in the next few slides, focused on food safety in Ethiopia. So this course was developed to support some of the workshops that we'll be having in Ethiopia, with the idea of giving the participants at those meetings some experience and knowledge and awareness of tools in terms of risk-based decision making and risk assessment and risk management. So the hope is that the participants will be able to view these videos while we're having those meetings over the next few years, and it will serve as a resource for them to some of this foundational knowledge on risk analysis. So we have several partners on the project who I wanted to mention here. So of course we're at Ohio State University in the College for Food, Ag, and Environmental Science. And we also are working with many collaborators, some collaborators at the University of Florida, collaborators at ILRI, collaborators at 3 universities in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa University, Haramaya University, and the University of Gondar, and then with the Ethiopian Public Health Institute, which is like the CDC in the United States. And then, of course, we have our partners in the Global One Health Institute, which is affiliated with Ohio State University, located in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. And then, of course, I mentioned earlier, our funders, who we're very grateful for giving this opportunity to work on this project, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and the United Kingdom Department for International Development, or DFID. So the goal of TARTAR, the goal of this project, is to really focus the development of a food safety system on a risk-based food safety system. So given that the country is in the process of putting additional layers into their food safety system oversight on the government side, we're introducing these concepts of using a risk-based framework or risk-based approach for making those decisions about governance. So the idea is this project will help identify and fill some of the knowledge gaps that exist in terms of understanding the burden of foodborne illness in Ethiopia. And also, another part of the project is developing potential interventions to reduce the risk and fitting those into the culture and the context of Ethiopia. And so the goal overall is to improve food safety governance in low and middle income countries with this overview of risk-based decision making. More details on the project are available at the website you can see here. If you search on TARTAR OSU, I'm sure it'll come up. So finally, this particular part of the project is the project that I'm the lead for, and this work is about establishing risk-based priorities in food safety for Ethiopia. So risk-based systems are always built on the premise that there are a limited number of resources to focus on the thing that you care about. And so the idea is, if you're going to focus on a limited number of things, you want to focus on things that are the most risky. But as we'll talk about over these courses, risk is something that is not something you can just measure with a ruler. There's a lot of different components to risk, lots of different ways you can look at it, lots of ways that you can decide what the most important variables are in terms of the risk assessments. And therefore, it's quite a complex decision-making process. So that's part of why we have this entire course on risk-based decision-making. In addition to this course, we also have in this same series short courses on risk assessment, risk management, and risk ranking. And the first workshop for the series of workshops that we're having on TARTAR is going to be held in March of 2020. And so these courses are available to supplement those meetings. The participants that attend will have access to these courses. So to introduce this topic of risk-based decision-making, I did want to mention sometimes it's abbreviated RBDM, just for convenience. So risk-based decision making has been increasingly used in the United States, where I'm from, as a way to really ensure that decision making is focused on the public health impact or the risk, reducing the risk of the thing that you're talking about. So it's been used in many sectors. It's been used in medical, environmental, public health, and the sector that we're focusing on here, which is food safety. So there's really no standard definition. It's really just this idea of using risk or using the likelihood and severity of harm in your decision-making process, as we'll talk through this course in terms of other elements of decision-making. So learning objectives for this short course on risk-based decision-making are to understand the components of decision-making, to recognize the value of risk-based decision-making for areas like food safety, and then to understand how risk information can be used to make decisions. In terms of prior knowledge for this course, it's really meant for everyone to be able to access this information. It's not a highly technical course and no prior knowledge is necessary. However, it might be helpful because of the examples I'm going to use for the students to have some understanding of the food safety system and the types of decisions that are made in the food safety system. The last module in this course talks explicitly about different types of decisions, so you'll have that content there, but that's kind of we're assuming that people who are coming into this course have that basic understanding. So there are materials available on the website that could provide you with that background knowledge if you don't have it already. So again, my name is Kara Morgan, and I'm the lead instructor for this course on risk-based decision-making. I'm a research scientist at Ohio State, and I have a PhD from Carnegie Mellon University in a program called Engineering and Public Policy, which is really a joining of technical quantitative work with policy work. And I worked at the Food and Drug Administration in the United States for 11 years, working primarily on risk-based decision-making approaches. And I teach at Ohio State in the John Glenn College of Public Affairs, which is our public policy program here at Ohio State. So I'm the lead for this objective, this work to establish risk-based priorities for Tartar. I'm the lead for that part of the project. So there's some readings that are listed along with the course that are meant to provide another source of material. You don't have to read the material before the course. You don't need to you don't read the material to understand the course, but it will provide you with some additional background and maybe some more examples if you're interested in reading a little bit further. And of course, you can use them as a resource after the course to remind you about the concepts. And then I do have also a section of more advanced readings for material for people that are more technically inclined or are more interested in kind of going in depth in some of these topics. There's some more additional readings suggested on the website as well. So thank you for joining this course, and I hope you enjoy it. So we'll go into the next module to talk more about risk-based decision making.